there was a new king in town, King Ahaz, king of Judah. But God's people in Judah had the same problem. They run away from God. They don't trust him as their promise-making, promise-keeping king and father who loves them. Trouble is coming for God's people. Enemies seeking to destroy them. They say, let's fight against Judah and tear it apart. We will divide Judah for ourselves. But God says their plan will not succeed. It will not happen. Who will God's people put their trust in? Will they bow to their enemies and seek a deal to save themselves? God warns the people, if your faith is not strong, then you will not have strength to last. If you do not trust me, you will be destroyed. Who will God's people put their trust in? Will they trust that God loves them dearly and will save them? King Ahaz and his people did not trust God, and God says, these people refuse to trust me and my love for them. They look instead to my enemies, who look so wise and powerful. So I, the Lord, will bring one of my enemies, the king of Assyria and all his power, against these people who walk away from me, who will not trust me. The power of the Assyrian armies will be like drowning in a flood. But I will smash my enemies into pieces. I say to them, make your plans for the fight, but your plans will be defeated. Give orders to your armies, but your orders will be useless. This is because God is with us.
There we go then. There's Isaiah writing God's message again. That question that we had earlier in the game, who is going to win? Will it be the red team or the blue team? Will it be our school or their school? Will it be England or another country? Will it be us or them? Will it be the hero or the villain? Isn't that one of the most exciting questions? Who's going to win? Who do you think? Why? What will make it happen? How will they win? And very importantly, will you choose the winning team? Will you be on the winning team? Well, in the next part of Isaiah's message, God's message to his people, we have a battle going on. And God's people, they are looking, watching, wondering who is going to win. Haven't we seen already the last 2 weeks that the people, they walk away from God? And God loves them so much. And God warns them, if you walk away, it won't end well for you. I'm God, the giver of life and love. If you walk away from me, you walk away from life and love. God gives another warning to the people. There are warnings everywhere in Isaiah. There are warnings everywhere for us. Here's something I bought this week, something that came with something I bought this week. Look how many warnings are on this. Pages and pages and pages. Warnings. There are warnings everywhere. And God gives lots of warnings to his people. He says, listen to me. But will they listen? Read with me on the screen. The Lord spoke to me with his great power. This is Isaiah writing this. He warned me not to follow the lead of the rest of the people. He warned him not to follow the lead of the rest of the people. In the video we saw, didn't we? There's an enemy on the way, an enemy against God and his people. The enemy looks powerful and strong and clever, so much so that God's people start to think that this enemy is more powerful, stronger, more clever than God. They forget how much God loves them, and they walk away from God and start to follow God's enemy instead. But God still loves his people. He always loves his people, and he warns them again. Don't follow them. Don't follow that leader. Follow me. Because anybody against me will fall. Anyone against me will be on the losing team, and they'll be destroyed. So here's the warning. God will win. So follow him. Did you hear the very end of our story? Did you hear what God said to his enemies? Make your plans for the fight, but your plans will be defeated. Give orders to your armies, but your orders will be useless. And why? Because God is with us. That's why God will win. God has given his warning. Follow him because God will win. And now he gives the same promise. I will do this. Follow him because God will win. So who will be the winner? God and those who follow him. How will they win? Because God is with them. So that's God's warning and his promise. If you're with me, you will win. If you're against me, you will lose. How? Because God is with them. So he says, keep looking for him. So we need to add something to our God's messenger toolkit, don't we? We've had the last couple of weeks, we've had our listening ears, we've had our glory eyes, and this week we are going to make ourselves some binoculars to keep looking for God and how he will win. So hopefully you've got these with you. You've got 2 toilet rolls or kitchen rolls, you've got something to attach them together. I have got an elastic band, and you've got some lovely things to decorate them with. Let's do that together now for a couple of minutes. Decorate your toilet roll tubes to be your binoculars, or even a telescope. And then we'll come back and see how we've done. Let's do that for a couple of minutes. Brilliant. I have seen some people being very busy. Let's have a look at your binoculars. Let's pop them on. Let me see you. Doesn't matter if they're not finished. Let's have a look. Oh, brilliant. I can see some great binoculars out there. Good. Right. If you haven't finished them, don't worry. You have loads of time after. But keep them on, and let's look at this wonderful promise on the screen. God's wonderful promise. See if you can read it with your binoculars on to keep looking for God coming. It says, this promise, a child will be born to us. God will give a son to us. He'll be responsible for leading the people. His name will be Wonderful Counselor, Powerful God, Father who lives forever, Prince of Peace. Now, this is a tricky question, but turn to the people with you and have a look again at the screen at just the first 2 lines and have a think, who is this? Who could this be? A child will be born to us. God will give a son to us. Just 10 seconds, turn to the person next to you. Who could this be? Wonder if you got it. This promise is talking about Jesus. Emmanuel. Do you remember that was the name given to Jesus that we learned at Christmas? Emmanuel, it means God with us. This child, this son from God, this is Jesus. Look again, a child will be born, it's God's child. A son will be given to us, it's God's son. And he will be a wise man who obeys God perfectly. He will be God himself, who lives forever and brings an end to all sadness and sorrow and trouble. What an amazing promise. God says, I will win, and I will win forever through my son who I will send. So he says to his people and to us now, listen to me. Look for him and wait for him. Look for him and wait for him. God said all of this before Jesus came, but now we know that he did come, didn't he? We know that God kept his promise. But the promise is also now for us because Jesus will come back one day again and rule forever. So now we can listen to him, listen to God, look for Jesus coming back and wait for him. So God will win through his son. And it's all because of his strong love for his people, because he loves us so, so much. So the final question will be, will we win with him? If we follow him, if we're on his team, yes, we will. Will we listen to him and love him and follow him as our Father and our King who loves us? Follow him because he will win.